So the Electoral College has voted, and it's now official. Donald Trump is, in fact, president-elect and will be our next president, despite the best efforts of the liberal left and the news media and all the crybaby never-Trumpers who tried to sway the Electoral College to not vote according to the will of the people of their state. It's never happened before, and it's pretty scary that they actually tried to do that this time. Keep in mind that if you could do that to us in the next election, if we lose, how would you like it if we do that to you? How would you like it if we start to harass the electors and try to persuade them into not voting the will of the people of their state and to try and sway the outcome of an election that's already been decided by the people? That's very, very ugly that happened, and I hope that never happens again. Now, as for all the people who say that it's not the will of the people, Hillary Clinton received 2 million more votes than Donald Trump in the popular vote, and therefore she should get to be president. Well, you need to take a little time to read a book and learn about the system in this country, the way that we elect our president. And in fact, those 2 million extra votes that Hillary got, you can account for all of them just in the state of California. So if you were to take the state of California and just remove it from the equation, there go her 2 million extra votes, and that would leave Trump with a majority not only in the Electoral College, but in the popular vote as well. In 49 states, he beat her. Not in every state, but overall, in the 49 out of 50 states, California, once added into the mix, it's like having a balancing scale with an equal number of apples on both sides, and then you throw a pineapple on one side. That's what California was in this election. They were the pineapple thrown onto this scale. That is the reason why we have an electoral college. It's so that one big populous state like California can't decide the election for the other 49 states. Because those of you who think that Hillary Clinton should be our president because she received 2 million more votes, you're giving all the power to the state of California to outvote the rest of the states in the country. And that's not how our system works. What we would get if we had a one-person, one-vote system is that all the big states would control the presidential elections. Instead of having 12 or 15 swing states, we'd have 4 or 5 swing states. It would always be decided by New York, California, Texas, and Florida, and maybe to a certain extent New Jersey and Illinois. But it would be disastrous, one person, one vote. Maybe they could reform the Electoral College so that it's not winner take all in every state. Maybe they should assign electors by congressional district, and it would really even things out a lot more fairly. But this is the system that we've had since our first election, and we've never had this kind of tumultuous transfer of power like we're having right now, because the liberals are having such conniptions. They're having such spasms of disbelief. They still can't believe that they lost, and they're still upset that Trump won. That the same people who said before the election they couldn't trust Trump to honor the election results, now they're the ones who can't honor the election results. Now they're the ones who are trying to undermine the system that has been here since our first president was elected. That is it's just reprehensible. You got to put on your big boy pants and just live with it. We won. This is the same thing you'd be saying to us if it was the other way around. That's what we were told when Barack Obama won. We won, live with it. You don't like it, go win an election. Well, we went out and won an election. Now, I also want to talk about something that First Lady Mrs. Obama said on TV, that hope is now lost. Wow, can you just imagine the pretentious, sanctimonious bullshit that she and her husband think that the sun rises and sets around Barack Obama, and once he's gone, it's just going to be sundown forever. The sun will never shine again because Barack is not president anymore. Wow, man, that is such typical dictator-minded bullshit. Every dictator that ever ruled with an iron fist believed that their people couldn't be happy without them. I say goodbye and good riddance. I can't fucking wait until they're gone. I really can't wait. You know, the attempts to undermine Trump is unprecedented. I don't think I've ever seen, maybe to a certain extent when George Bush got elected in 2000, there was a lot of attempts to undermine him, but it's really bad this time. And that's not the way we do things in this country. Once the election's over, you put on your big boy pants and you learn to live with it. The fact that they actually tried to sway the Electoral College, and even little shit like Saturday Night Live with their attack comedy. It's not even funny. It's not even political satire. It's just, you know that they hate Trump and they're going to do everything they can to try and make him look foolish and ridiculous every Saturday night. You know, that show hasn't been relevant since John Belushi died. And I haven't watched it since Belushi and Aykroyd left. It really has been a shitty show for the past 20, 30 years, actually. I also want to talk about blame for Clinton's loss. There's just been an endless list of bullshit that the liberals have put forth in the past couple of weeks as to why Hillary Clinton lost. And they blamed everything except for Hillary Clinton. You know, no acknowledgement whatsoever that she's probably the worst candidate that the Democrat Party has ever put forward. Somebody that was under investigation by the FBI while running for the president was not a good idea. The fact that they rigged the primary system so that nobody else could win was a real bad idea. The fact that Hillary is a sanctimonious piece of shit doesn't seem to ring true with a lot of Democrats even now. They cry now about the hacked emails and the Russians. The Russians caused all of this. It's the Russians' fault. Well, they may have hacked the email. They may be the ones behind it. Haven't seen proof of that yet. But in a worst case scenario, if the Russians did hack the DNC and put that information out for public consumption, I got to tell you, they did the job of the American news media. They showed us what the Democrats are really like, what they do behind closed doors, what they think of other people, how they backstab each other, how unfit they are to run the country. This is something the American news media didn't want to talk about at all, and they did everything they could to shelter Hillary Clinton. And if the Russians were the ones who actually did their job to show us what was really going on behind closed doors, I really don't have a problem with that. Sorry, I just don't. It's not quite the same as actually hacking the election, because that didn't happen. From what we're told, the voting machines are not connected to the internet. They cannot be gotten into from outside the building. It would require somebody on site at every one of the polling sites to physically touch every machine in order to tamper with it. I'm no fan of electronic voting. I think we should go back to paper ballots, but let's be honest here. The election wasn't hacked. And if the Russians did interfere, so what? You think that nobody's ever interfered in a presidential election before? Remember in 2008, Osama bin Laden endorsed Barack Obama. Now, I didn't hold it against Barack Obama because nobody can control what Osama bin Laden is going to say publicly, just like nobody can control what David Duke says publicly or what anybody else says publicly. You can't hold somebody responsible for getting an endorsement from an unsavory character if they didn't reach out to that person to try and get the endorsement. And if the Russians did something nefarious, it just shows us that our system is broken and it needs to be hardened. If we could be hacked so easily, what else could they do? Can they shut down the power grid? Can they access our nuclear silos? Can they get into our nuclear subs? Can they get into the computer systems on our military bases? These are all more food for thought as to how lax the Obama administration has been the past 8 years in not protecting this country, which is really the reason why Trump won. Let's face it, every time Trump had a rally, you would get 30, 40, 50,000 people coming out. They weren't Russians. They weren't Russian spies or Russian plants, and the Russians didn't make all those people come out, and they didn't make all those people go out and vote on election day. Trump won the election. He won it fair and square. And it's time to put all your hurt feelings behind you and just let the man do his job.